Hey guys, Frozen Lion, right, I'm back, and this is a re-upload of a video that I put out yesterday on the dayz standalone from E3. The coverage was brought from my network partner Machinima, and I'm re-uploading this because the quality was not up to my usually high standards. The reason being is I took the footage directly from the stream at the time, and it wasn't good enough. It just was not good enough. I've now managed to find another version of the stream, or another upload of the stream, and it's in full HD this time. It's full HD, it's not upscaled, so the quality of this video should be absolutely crisp as it can be. Obviously, some people might be like, oh, why did you re-upload it? Because I want to bring you guys the best footage I can for the dayz standalone. So here it is. This will be the dayz standalone coverage as it was yesterday. Rocket talks about a lot of the new features, a lot of the server, client architecture, which is where most of the work's been going on behind the scenes to turn the game from sort of a first-person shooter to an MMO, to bring the best experience possible, and also to eliminate a lot of the hacking that happened originally in the dayz standalone, or the dayz mod, sorry, to prevent that from happening in the dayz standalone. So here it is. This is the interview you've all been waiting for, and it's now in full HD. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and please leave this video a like in the end if you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm sorry about the quality yesterday. I tried to bring you the footage as fast as I could, but it was direct from the stream, so it wasn't the usual high quality, but it is now. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Oh, hello. Your friend Hundar here with a very special guest, Dean Hall, aka Rocket. How you been?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good to see you again. I just shook your hand. I'll
thanks,
shake
man.
it again. Last time we talked was PAX East.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does feel like a lifetime ago.
Plenty of stuff going on. I'm sure you guys have been busy. What's sort of the vibe of the day for you, Ben? Have you been running to a lot of appointments? Have you been pretty?
Yeah. It's actually been pretty good. Like, I guess all the previous sort of video game conferences we've been to, it's all been talking. But actually here, you know, we can actually show people what we're doing.
Right.
And so that's basically what I've been doing, is just standing at the stand, talking to people and letting them play the game. And it's, I guess that's really good for us, like, to finally be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like to this point, people have been watching sort of the dev diaries to sort of keep up with that sort of thing, but now this is the opportunity. So you guys have brought some, we're going to actually check the game out here on this live stream, assuming we get, this computer will pop up here in a second. Do you want to sort of give us an overview of the changes since the last time we talked, I guess? I know it seemed like the last time we talked, the focus was definitely on zombie pathing and sort of the making them more of a real threat than something you just sort of strafe circle around. So sort of what's the state of that?
Yeah, well, we'll be able to see. Zombies are going to be a work in progress, I'd say, for at least, well, for the entire time we're doing development and doing patches.
Right.
But we're happy with a number of elements of it. One of them you'll see is the jumping attacks. And the fact that the zombies can attack while they're moving, because one of the big problems with the mod was the zombies would run along, stop, and then attack. And I guess a lot of people are critical of the zombies and say, why can't they be more like Left 4 Dead or something like that? But they don't realize the dayz map is 260 square kilometers. It's a huge map, which causes real issues for AI pathfinding. You can't do things in a traditional way that you do with a lot of games. So it's something, you know, something that we're going to be working at quite heavily here. So yeah, you know, you can see here he's running around inside a building. We'll probably actually see, it doesn't take long before a zombie comes and hits you.
It really never does. Was there anything in terms of, you know, as far as the different zombie attacks and places you want to go with that you guys knew you wanted to attempt once you started on this, or specific inspirations you were drawing on for like the feel of the zombies of this world? Yeah,
well, we definitely took a lot of inspiration from movies like 28 Days Later and stuff like that, because the idea was to try and make the situation authentic. You can't make it realistic, but authentic, definitely. Right. So the idea was that, and the mod, the zombies weren't fluid. They were really glitchy. In fact, they were one of the worst areas of the mod. And they're still one of the weaker areas of standalone, but we're putting a lot of work into them, and that, you know, that's one of our key focuses. And I think having the zombies so that they actually jump around after you, when you get hit by the zombie, your body gets knocked. You can actually get knocked right down. So the idea was to really make, the zombies feel much more authentic.
Yeah. Always the worst moment, being knocked down in a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Whenever you're sort of thinking about, I guess, just the different approaches, there's so many ways to sort of go about an authentic sort of zombie experience, whether that's the fast-moving things where it's like just hoping not to be seen, or sort of those slow-building moments where you know you're in territory, but just sort of trying to navigate that. Where do you sort of split the line in terms of the balance of how you want it to feel in dayz? Is there, I mean, it seems like obviously the fast-moving thing has sort of the emphasis, but are you interested in sort of experimenting with different types on that regard?
Yeah, so one thing we want to do is have it so that there's more of a sort of a zombie life cycle. So the idea is if the zombies are unhealthy, they'll start to get slower. Maybe they'll get injured, so they'll start shambling then.
Yeah.
The problem with all that is it all requires more animation. And because this isn't a heavily stylized game, say like Minecraft or that, there's a lot of work involved in animating that. And we've actually got a new skeleton and a new body involved with it. So yeah, so it's a lot of work that's involved, so it's really going to be an ongoing process to achieve that. But that's what we want to have, so that particularly now that under the whole new architecture we've got, I saw something I hadn't seen before in there. I was like, what? The artist actually finished that? It was the rubble on the road.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so now that we're doing this whole server-client architecture thing, it means that the zombies are always there, so they don't just spawn around a village when players are there. So we can do stuff like measure the zombies' hunger level, we can have them be roving zombies.
Right.
So yeah, it's something we want to work on, but we're really focused on the foundation for the alpha. Right. Once we've got a good base of the really basic stuff, then we're going to start doing the more exciting stuff.
Right, because I imagine, I mean, all that stuff, and you had mentioned sort of like roving bands of zombies, every iteration of that's just affecting the gameplay in a different way from sort of to try to establish what people are already sort of used to, right? So, so another thing you've mentioned before is sort of, oh my God. It's easy to get distracted here too, yeah.
It is.
She's excited. Sort of the interior environments, I know you're expanding a lot in terms of not just the detail in there, but also the things you can interact with and things like that. For people that are sort of unfamiliar with the jump from maybe what they're used to in the mod to where you're at now, can you sort of walk us through some of that? Yeah,
so that was perhaps one of the first things we touched, because it was one of the easiest things, because it was an art pipeline issue. So much of what we've had to do over the last 12 months has been taking an old engine, gutting it, and then putting in new, making it an MMO, which is a lot of work.
Right.
But the interiors were incredibly important for an emergent perspective. And they're also important in terms of loot spawning. So yeah, we approached it we effectively wanted all buildings enterable. We still don't have all buildings enterable, but we're looking at about 95%, which is a great deal more than the mod. And the detail and the quality that's been put into them has been absolutely fantastic by the Bohemia artists. So yeah, so we're really pleased with how that's working out. And I think it's going to add some pretty challenging gameplay, not from only the looting perspective, but dealing with players, like they've got plenty of places to hide.
Right. And how much does that affect in terms of speaking purely on loot, where you've got that many more opportunities to hide loot on shelves and things like that? Should we expect more, or is it just more of a every building needs to be searched more thoroughly sort of type deal?
Yeah, well, the idea is to have a lot more loot spawns, but have them much rarer. So an example being, there's a new area to the north and the northeast and northwest of Cherno that has these massive apartment buildings. Now we're redoing the apartment buildings from scratch so that you can enter every single room. Wow. They're going to be quite gutted because you're obviously limited on polygon budget and stuff like that.
Sure.
So they will be they'll have not much in them, but they'll have a tremendous amount of opportunity for loot, but at a very low percentage. So the idea is that you're really going to be scavenging. You can scavenge all over the place, and you'll see as he's going around, like you can see, just a whole bunch of stuff like hidden under tables and stuff like that. So he's having to look for stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess that was a real key, was to have people actually scavenging the environment.
Right. I like the helmet he's rocking.
Yeah, the helmet it's actually my favorite item in dayz, easily. And it's actually a practical item because it helps you with melee and with the zombie attacks, defend against them.
I think there's something makes you feel invincible about a helmet too. You can be in nothing else except the helmet and somehow feel like you maybe have like some odds here.
And I guess that's one of the cool things for us is there's like hundreds of different items, but on our list we have thousands. Wow. And we're pumping out like 5 or 6 completely new stuff like every couple of weeks. So the pace of it is very significant, and it's one of the major areas. It's kind of like dayz's leveling as your gear. So yeah, and I think heavily, heavy customization of the character is quite a big deal for us.
Very cool. Well, I think we're going to take some questions from Steve and Larson over there from the social wall. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
We have
Sounds
questions for you, Steve. Would you like to begin?
We has questions. Let's see here. Well, we have one from the Twitter board here. It says G4 TV leader. Are you excited to see dayz as a standalone title, and how do you think it will fare? So,
is that a question for Dean, or I mean, is that a question for us? The question was just, are we excited to see dayz as a standalone title, and how do we think it will fare? I mean,
we can both answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm excited. I definitely enjoy processes like this, where you get to sort of watch, an improvement being built onto something that already exists, where you can sort of, and a developer that's willing to sort of take the step-by-step demonstrating that process. You know what I mean? All the diaries you guys do are really fascinating to me personally. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, well, I guess from my perspective, it's all a big experiment, really. Like, being so open in the development has some negatives for us. We were saying the other day, it would have been kind of good to have been secret, because there's no expectation.
Right.
You want to be open with people, but it does build hype, and then you try not to build hype, but you just end up building it. So, yeah, so it was a bit nerve-wracking today. We wondered, it's still very rough, but I think people who are aware of game development, they realize that a lot of the architecture now is there, and it's working and it's good. So now it's just about pumping content in, tidying up the rough bits around the edges. But it seems like the response has been very positive. Certainly the people at the booth have been very happy with the progress. So this is kind of like a report card for dayz. So I'm not sure what we'll get, but I'm hoping for a B-.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's get one. We got time for one more question.
One more from Angry Banana. Will there be any new weapons and vehicles in this standalone?
Angry Banana, perhaps a person named that or an actual Angry Banana watching right now, wants to know, will there be new weapons and vehicles? And I think...
Weapons, absolutely. So we're actually redoing all the weapons from scratch, and the reason for that is our attachment system. So with a lot of weapons, you can add stuff to them. It depends. Like the more hunting style weapons, it's there's not as many attachments as say an M4 or an AK. But yeah, so that's a huge focus for us. And the idea of redoing them all is we wanted to improve the quality. We wanted to add these new attachments. You can add like silencers, new scopes, different kinds of magazines, all this kind of stuff. Vehicles, we want to redo vehicles completely. We don't want to just go out and say, okay, we're just going to add a new helicopter, or a new this or new that.
Yeah.
So the idea is, probably we're going to release the alpha either with just the standard vehicles that were in armor and the mod and that sort of stuff, or we might not have them at all, and we might redo vehicles completely and roll them in a patch. Because what we want is for people to be able to scavenge off vehicles. So you kind of have this husk of a vehicle, and you can put go get a door off another vehicle and put it on, or a wheel and an engine from this vehicle. So that's really what we want to do, and that fits in with the rest of the game in terms of its inventory and weapon attachments.
I love that you guys never do anything halfway. It's like, yes, we completely redid this, or just had to make sure it was right from the ground up. So, all right, one more question.
One more question. Yeah, we got, will dayz come to consoles?
So, will dayz come to consoles?
Yeah, well, I think yes. I think that the onus is on us to not screw up the PC release. I think if it was very unsuccessful on the PC, then there wouldn't be a console port. But I think definitely, I mean, what we saw from Sony, has really made us all very happy, and good support for indie titles, and that's incredibly important.
Absolutely.
And people are talking about it, but everyone seems to focus on the whole used game side of it and stuff. But I think support of indie titles is really important for a console manufacturer if they want to see a game like dayz on their console.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope that discussion goes well. We're actually going to go ahead and take a look at basically something about the PS4 right now from our pre-E3. Dean,
awesome.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.